Hey everyone, my name is Christine and I'm a PTE expert and I work for EnglishWise, wherein they have helped a lot of students get their desired score just by cracking that PTE. So since you're watching this video, I am thinking that you're about to take your PTE, or you are in the middle of your review, or you're just curious what PTE really is. So thank you so much for watching this video, because I'm very happy. That means you could be our next successful story. So in our video today, we are going to talk about the speaking module, okay? Now, I will talk a little bit about some of the strategies when it comes to your speaking, but mostly what I'm going to discuss are the common mistakes that students and test takers make that you should avoid. And maybe if you're doing some of them, then this is the right time for you to stop doing those. So here we go. First things first, let's talk about PTE speaking. So if you're one of our students, you might have already known that speaking is what we really call our backbone in our PTE. Why? Because speaking, it gives a lot of scores, or it shares a lot of scores when it comes to your reading and listening modules. And also, you cannot get your speaking scores from any other module. So that means you have to have a very good foundation of your speaking module. And if you also have a good score in your speaking, that will already give you an idea that you'll also get good marks in reading, because speaking gives 30 to 34 points for reading. And also in your listening, you can get maximum 40 to 45 points. Okay, now what are the questions or what are the tasks that you have to complete under your speaking module? There are actually 5, but if you again know our strategies, we are focusing on 4 important modules. These are your read aloud, your repeat sentence, your describe image, and your read the lecture. Okay, read aloud, you could get 6 to 7 items, repeat sentence, 10 to 12 questions, describe image, 8 to 10, and your read the lecture, 3 to 4 questions. Okay, but we'll not go through the details of each. I will talk about in summary what are the 3 important measures or your parameters that you should keep in mind to crack that PTE speaking score. It's just simple, you just have to remember 3 letters. And this is what you call your COP. Yes, you heard that right, COP. C-O-P. So just like in real life, forget about PTE first. When you think about a cop, it's like a police officer, the one who guides us, safeguards us, protects us. Same thing with your PTE. If you have these 3 letters or your cop, you will definitely be safe and sound. So what are these? First letter C is your content. It's just easy. Content is when you answer the given question accurately. So for example, in your read aloud, the content are the words. Whatever you see there that you have to read, those are your content. As long as you're not making any changes like addition, omission, or repetition of words, then you are good with your content. Next is your oral fluency. Oral fluency, for you to ace this skill, is you should not make any unnecessary pauses, or there shouldn't be any hesitation, and you have to maintain a continuous natural flow. And we have a separate video as well for this, wherein we talk in more details as to how you can improve your oral fluency if this is something that you have been challenging about. Next, or the last one, but definitely not the least, is your pronunciation. Now, pronunciation means you have to say and speak the words correctly, clearly, and with the appropriate sound. And also, we can discuss this in a separate video, how to make sure that you'll get your pronunciation correct and also clearly. Okay, so those are the things that you have to make sure that you remember when it comes to your speaking. These are your important parameters. If you have these three, again, you will be safe and sound. Let me just show you also how your speaking test looks like. So obviously, you know, when it comes to speaking, we have to record our answers. PTE is a computer-based exam. So definitely we are speaking, we are recording, and that's where we submit our answers. Now, I want you to take a closer look, and you have to make sure that you observe these important things carefully when it comes to your exam. In your speaking, you will always see a status bar. It shows current status. This is your guide when you are recording your answers. Now, timing is very essential in your speaking. What do I mean by that? In speaking, there are some beep sounds that you will hear in some questions. Actually, almost all the questions in your speaking, you will hear a beep sound, like a warning beep sound, except for your repeat sentence and your answer short questions. Now, it is very important that you know that you should not start to record and speak after the beep sound, but you have to record when the blue line starts. Okay, so let me show you how that looks like. So for example, this is your read aloud question. I will show you the beep sound. I will let you listen to it. So that's the beep sound. Don't record. Now you record when the blue line starts. If you record after the beep sound, not all the words that you said will be recorded. Okay? So only when the blue line starts. Another thing to remember about timing is after you speak the last word, okay? Say for example, in our question like this, after you said the word rewarding, even if you're still in the middle of the status bar, as soon as you're done, you have to click the next button, which is at the right bottom part of your screen. So that's your next or submit button, even if the status bar is not yet complete. So you don't wait until the status bar is complete, but as soon as you're done speaking, then click the next button, or that's your submit button. If you don't speak within 3 seconds because you're waiting, the microphone will close and it will take you to the next question, meaning you didn't answer that question. So again, timing is very important, especially because it's a speaking test. Okay, so now that's just a little bit of an overview for the speaking. We will now focus on our main topic for this video, which is about the common mistakes when it comes to your speaking module. So let's talk about them now. I have observed, or these mistakes are what I have observed from the students who are doing their practices in our laboratory and those who have taken the exam already. So I have collected them and I have summarized them for you so it's easy for you to remember. I summarized them with the word mistakes. Yes, literally the word mistakes. Okay, so firstly, letter M. M stands for microphone position. Okay, now common mistake is some students think that there's only one best way to position the mic when you take the exam. So you know that you have to put your headset on and there's a microphone that you have to speak. I mean, when you speak, you have to use that microphone. So they always compare and ask me, what is the best position for the microphone? Now, there is no single answer to it because, again, it depends per person. Because we have our own pitch, we have our own volume, and that's the good thing when we practice here with our students and we let them do some mock tests before their exam so that we can definitely guide and assist them how to position their mic accurately and effectively based on each person. Okay, so next, letter I is for intonation. So I will show you again the same example I did earlier. Let's say this is your read aloud. Now, the common mistake is we try to still adapt how we read aloud back in our school days or even maybe in real life. So maybe at one point in our lives we have already read aloud something to someone. Okay, now normally we read it aloud as, for example, a student exchange program complements formal education. So we do this thing. Now this is not really the way how PTE works. So remember, we should not be putting some intonation or the rising and falling or the meaning of the words. Because again, it's a computer-based exam. So it doesn't need to understand what we are reading, but we just have to read it in a clear and calm tone. Okay, so no rising and falling. Next, S is for stretches or stress of words. So this does not only apply to your read aloud, but throughout your entire speaking module. So it could be read aloud or something. Mostly this happens in your repeat sentence. You know, when we try to stretch the words, well, we remember the other words that come after. So for example, if the long sentence in your repeat sentence is a student exchange program complements, so we try to a student exchange program, so we stretch. So that is a no-no for your PTE speaking. Also, since we're talking about read aloud, so instead of saying a student exchange program complements formal education, so don't stretch the words and don't put so much stress. Another thing to remember about stress is one of the errors I have noticed is we put the stress in the wrong way. Let me give you two words that I have commonly heard. First one is develop. So when we say develop, usually here you say and you put the stress on the first E. You say it as develop. So it should be developed. So the second E is where you put a little bit of that stress. So the computer will be able to pick it up. Another word is familiar. So I often hear familiar. So we don't put the stress on the A, but on the letter I, familiar. Okay, so that's for the stress. Next letter is letter T. So T is for tone. So if you have already taken the exam, probably you have observed this, that some test takers shout whenever they do their speaking task. Again, shouting will not guarantee your marks in your speaking, okay? But I would say you have to speak in a louder voice than usual, especially for girls who tend to have soft voices. So you have to make sure that you speak in a confident tone and with a loud tone, but not shouting, okay? That's a different thing. Another thing is, in speaking, we need to follow a flat tone. So if you're one of our students, time and again, we have been repeating that please use a flat tone. Now, don't get us wrong, flat tone is not the same as a robotic tone. Flat tone, looking back at the example, is when you don't put much emphasis and you just say it effortlessly. So for example, instead of a student exchange program, it's very inconsistent, but flat tone is just like speaking in a flow. A student exchange program complements formal education while promoting tolerance, maturity, and independence. Okay, so it's just one direction. Okay, so that's the flat tone. Next is letter A, accent. Okay, now most of us think that accent is similar to pronunciation. There is a difference between these two. Now, do we really have to use or copy another person's or a native English speaker's accent? We don't. Just use your natural accent. Some students think that they have to sound for example, with an Australian accent or with an English accent. But the more you copy or imitate, the more you become stiff and uncomfortable. So in PTE, it's okay. You just have to use your natural accent. The more natural you go, the more clear you're able to speak and say the words. Okay, so that's letter A. Next is letter K. K is for keywords. So as you know, PTE has an algorithm wherein it needs to get the relevant keywords. I'm mostly speaking about your read the lecture. So when you take note of the keywords, if you are not taking the right keywords, then you might have a problem both in your speaking as well as in your listening module, since your read the lecture gives force to your listening as well. So when we do the lecture, you have to make sure that you don't choose keywords like to, in, on, and, but, the articles, prepositions, and connectors. We have to only get the relevant keywords such as your nouns, adjectives, verbs, adverbs. Okay, now letter E is for emotions. Now, this may come across to some of you as a very simple thing, like you have to be emotionally prepared. Because remember, speaking is the very first part of your PTE. So you have to be emotionally stable, you have to control and manage your emotions very well. Otherwise, if you start to worry, be anxious, and become nervous, then your focus and your presence of mind will not be in its total composition. So what would mostly happen is you will have some hesitations, unnecessary pauses will come. It's your body defense mechanism when you're a bit stressed. So just relax and be confident. Okay, and last but not the least, for S is speed. Okay, now a lot of times I've heard this, that some students think that the more faster you go, the higher marks you'll get in speaking. This is not really the case, because it doesn't mean that if you are in a rush and you speak very fast, like in our example early, if you say a student exchange program complements formal education or promoting, it will give you a very good mark in speaking. No, remember, if you do this, oral fluency will be good, but pronunciation will go down. And oral fluency is not the only parameter for your speaking. Okay? We all have our own speed. Just use your natural speed. I would say not too slow, but not too fast. Just your natural pace. Just enough and appropriate for the computer to be able to understand the words that you are speaking. Okay? So that's all for the mistakes. I just want to summarize it again. That's M for your microphone position, I for your intonation, S, stretch or stress of words, T for tone, A for accent, K for keywords, E for emotions, and S for speed. Now, on top of those common mistakes, let me just add one final thing. The importance of your personal introduction. If you're a first-time test taker, personal introduction is the start of everything. Now, a lot of time I have been asked if this must be prepared. So, should we really prepare for a personal introduction? Let me tell you this. It is very essential that you prepare your personal introduction. Probably just a 30-second personal introduction. If you're one of our students, we did give you like a template for you to have as your personal introduction. Just start your exam very smoothly, and that will positively impact the rest of it. Start good and end good. Start well and end well. Worst case, if you didn't start that good, don't worry, don't give up, okay? It matters how you start, but it matters most how you end. And I'm pretty sure you will end well. So there you have it. Those are the mistakes that you should avoid when it comes to your PTE speaking. Again, thank you for watching this video today. I hope it's very helpful for you. All the best on your exam. And if you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Again, my name is Christine, and I'll see you on our next session. Thanks.